Okay, so what we're going to start with is, well, has anybody used SeeSaw before?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, Sam I know has. I think the best explanation for SeeSaw is it is like an online portfolio. It's a way for kids to post their work,
Yes.
even non-electronic work. So you can type from the iPad and post that into SeeSaw, but you can also color a picture, write whatever it is that you want to do, record, and I'll show you all of that stuff as we get into it. But that's really what SeeSaw is. It is touted as something that can be used across levels, but when you search, it seems to be much more the elementary level that tends to make use of it. There are teachers who use it at the 12th grade level. There are some schools that are starting to buy subscriptions for their kids at the kindergarten level, and that will follow them through their schooling. If you're on the free version, you can't do that. You basically go year to year to year. So, do you have SeeSaw downloaded? Okay, Lori, can you see the app on Ashley? See if it... Oh, yeah. And actually, here's what we're going to do. You're going to be a student for what we're going to do here. So where you're at is you are actually as a teacher, which and I was going to show you what all of that looks like. Okay, so you're going to end up being, I'm a student. And one of the things with SeeSaw is it is good for all levels because there are different ways of being able to log in. In this case, and Sam may disagree, and please tell me if you do, there is predominantly K through 3 is where they recommend this. You print off a QR code, you put all the kids' names into SeeSaw, and then you put a QR code onto the wall or the desk or wherever, and when they are ready to sign in, they do the QR code, it opens up SeeSaw app, and then they go and find their name and they select their name. I'm going to suggest in our district this year or next year that you don't do that no matter what level you are, because they all have Google accounts. And with Google accounts, it takes some pressure off of you to put all their names in. They will just sign in, and then their name automatically populates. So you can do either way. The example I'm using, I created a class, and I'm going to have you sign in actually using your Google account. And so in this case, I've created a class that just says March 18th PD. What you are going to do is click I am a student, and does it ask you for a code? Yeah. Okay, so the join code that I'm going to give you, and this is, you'll notice it says join code is valid for 14 minutes. That's how they keep people, I'm going to do not disturb here. So you're going to put that QKLK, and then it should ask you to sign into your Gmail. Is that accurate? Because if not, we've done something wrong. And once you put the code in, there's a green check box or check mark at the top right. And you always want to allow things. I know people tend to say, well, I don't allow this, and I don't allow, like when it comes up, should you allow this particular thing? So is it?
It says I have to have this first.
Oh, it does. Okay. Now do new student, and then use. I would use Google account. Yeah, and then once the join code, which was Q. So yours. Oh, yeah. And I'm sorry. With the first time you do this, you have to do new student. Now, when you use your Google account, it's going to ask you the join code, but it will actually now let you into the next stage. I'm having you go in as a student, and then I forgot, you do need to have the new, you do need to say I'm a new student.
The trouble is, I would need to go as a teacher, and so now it's not common. It's
But you can be a,
it's telling me you have an existing SeeSaw account, please use your email, that's the SeeSaw password to sign in, do not select sign in.
okay, so, and that's how mine is. You can still sign in as a student though, but you won't sign in, you will not sign in with your Google account.
So you can sign out of a Google account?
Well, I don't. And you're going to do, yep, just sign in with email.
So what are we doing here?
Yes,
So the new one,
and then you want new student. Oh, and then you need join code. Join. Yeah, now
Now we
do
gotta do
Google
join
account.
code?
Do I fill out back
No,
up?
because she already had an account.
If
If you're already in, once you connect with the code that you were given, you're okay. Now, if you signed out and signed back in, you have to use that. Yes, that's the join code. Yeah, now you sign in with Gmail.
Seriously. So that works.
Mhm. Yeah, this is, I think, a great
They both use it?
online portfolio, and we have a number. I had Sam come to provide, I can show you kind of generally, here's how you do things. Sam using it on a regular basis, but there are a number of teachers that are using it on a regular basis. And again, I can't stress at the grade school level, particularly the early elementary, one of the things always is, it's too hard to get them, like this whole, what we just did now, you do that one time, that always, signing in the first time for anything is always, and like Margaret, I have the same thing, I sign in with my Google account every time and it tells me, you already have an existing account, you have to, but it's the same account. It's the way I registered for SeeSaw a year and a half ago.
So you're saying we can log everybody's iPad in, they'll all be using their numbered iPad, so that it never has to be logged in.
Sometimes it kicks you out.
Yeah,
So, I mean, they may have to, which is why I kind of like the QR code
And-
because then they can sign back in just real quick. They know
Yeah.
what to do.
and there's no question, if you want to use the QR code, you can, but you have to go, you go in and put their names.
Just that one time.
Now, I do need to share something with you, and please don't throw things at me. At this point, we are testing a new filter. Well, it's beyond, we're testing it now, but we are going to the new filter next year. At this point, we have what's called a forced Google sign-in. Everybody's going to have to do it. When they come in the morning, everybody, when they log into our network, will need to authenticate with their Google email and password. Now, Dr. Teeter's comment was, I'm going to point to you when the grade school teachers say, who wanted to go to this? But what you find from schools, honestly, is the first few days, yeah, it's okay, I'm going to have to, it's not real safe, but I'm going to put your username and password right here. By week 1, they're putting in their password.
Well, by
And they're
third
putting it
grade,
there.
they're not okay. But
It's
not,
it's
that's
really
not
not bad, I really promise it's not.
Yeah,
Because we've done Google Classroom and everything else, and they've had the long ones, and they really, they know it. Because we type it so often.
Think of August and September. I have some kids still that
I
start.
promise, if you're doing it that frequently.
And that's the key. I think the key is because they're doing it so frequently. I get I can tell when I get a password request from a teacher, I've forgotten my Google account. As soon as I go to reset it, it will say last seen January 11th. That's why they're forgetting it. They're not forgetting it because they're using it every day. Once they start using it every day, they will get there.
And I will say the bigger problem with it is the kids that don't know their full name. So
Yes.
when it's like, they go by Joe and their whole name is like,
Okay, just read that folder or something.
yes.
I have a little card for each one of them that's laminated and they keep it in their work box that has their AR and everything on it. And they just take it with them.
Now, I don't think that's going to change, but Dr. Teeter may say, you know what, we're not going to do this forced login, but it creates problems when the kids are at home, for those who take it home. So right now, so if I look at my class, I have Ben, Heather, Lori, and Margaret. So did you actually join? Oh. Okay, so you can see on the side who is part of your class, and now, and this is where SeeSaw is just beautiful. I mean, it is so easy to use. It's not like Classroom, and again, Sam may use it a different way. It's not like Classroom where you put a post that then they're going to respond to. I mean, you could, but what I'm going to say right now is I'm going to have you all take a picture of something and record audio as to what you took a picture of. Okay? That's what I'm going to ask you to do. And the way you're going to do that is up in the top right. There's a plus sign. There's a green plus sign in the top right. If you select that, this is what you have as an option if you are a kid. If you're a student, you can take a photo, you can take a video, you can draw something. It's an interactive whiteboard. You can pick something that you've already taken a picture of. You can put a note, so you can, and by note, a paragraph, I mean, you can write something, and then a web link. So what I want you to do is take a photo of something, and then do an audio of, here's what I chose to take a picture of.
Sorry, I don't take a report setup.
Yep.
Okay, so when each student logs in for the first time, are you saying the teacher does that for each student, the code thing? Because don't they have to enter a username and password?
For their Google account.
Okay, but second grade doesn't have a Google.
Yes, they do.
He's saying everyone, even kindergartners, can do that.
That's starting next.
No,
Right now?
no.
Right now they do?
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody has one. It's their first name dot their last name at mcusd709.org, and then the first time they log in, it's Potter709.
Okay, and then are they supposed to change that password?
And they have to change it. And here's where we got into, they actually have a password. It's like catnap33. It's 2 3-letter words and 2 numbers.
Zach-R88, my daughter's, and I have no idea why.
What's your password? It generates a
Yeah.
random two random
Of course you can.
I
She will forget it, and I'm like, what is it now? And it's like Zach-R88. How did you come up with that? That's ridiculous. But now I remember it, so I used it twice.
Okay. So did everybody record their voice?
No, wait.
Okay.
No, are we supposed to take?
Take a photo,
Okay.
and then give some audio as to why you chose that photo. And again, I'm kind of not. And once you do that, there's a green check mark on the top right. You're going to select that green check mark, and basically what you're doing is turning it in, submitting it to the class. And then I'll show you on my screen, because I am the teacher of this class. I'll show you what you see as a teacher.
You'll have to check it twice, because the first time it's like approving your recording.
I can't record
And then if
all.
No.
And it's Brenda's voice.
On SeeSaw,
Yes.
and you are going to actually join as a student.
Okay.
So you want to go out to the very start of it. You're still going to do email, Google account, and you already have an account then.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to sign in with your.
Is that okay?
Yep, and then I'm going to give you a join code.
Password, first one's
INQO. Yes, what you're going to get.
Did you say Potter's 09 is theirs?
Potter's 709. Okay, so what you are going to see on your end, you're going to see something that says waiting for approval. And I think this is something that's important about SeeSaw, particularly if you decide to use it and you're going to let parents know you're using it. You have to have, and this is the rule across the district, whether you are in 12th grade or whether you're in kindergarten, you cannot let students have unfettered access to the internet. You need to be able to have some control. So if you're going to have a blog, they cannot, I'm not saying it doesn't always happen this way, but you are supposed to be able to moderate that. Doesn't mean you have to read every post, but if somebody calls and says, look at what somebody's posting on my kid's blog site, you can shut it down like that. You don't have to go to them and say, well, what's your password? SeeSaw does not allow stuff to just go on the board. You as a teacher get a notice that says, here are 4 unapproved items. I go to that, I see each of those 4 items that are there. I can go through and I can approve them,
And now you can approve them at the bottom too, it lets you do all of them.
and then let you do all of them, what you couldn't on the iPad before. So now, if you go back to the class feed, and you'll notice here, this is the class feed, this is the calendar view, this is something that if we get to, we'll talk about, it's the new blogging feature that's there. Now what you have is, or students can see, let's go back to the class feed. I can go and say, well, I want to see what Ben is doing. There's Ben's. I can see the whole class feed. There is what everybody in the class has done. You can allow students to comment on that. I can go up here and do some I can go to manage class, and then I have some options. I can student likes and comments. I can go on and say I want to enable that. So a kid can go in, you can go in, by the way I have this set up, you could comment on somebody else's post, you could like it, or it's a heart, I guess. This though, new comments require approval. So if the student's gonna, if the assignment is, I want you to comment on somebody else's post, you can have that set up so that you have to approve that comment. And again, I think it depends upon the class that I know of, and Sam, I'm going to look at you. You cannot do that by student. It's either all on or all off?
I think you're right.
Okay, I don't think you can say, oh, little Johnny's kind of a jerk, and I wish I could take it. I think you have to.
But I still see every comment that comes through.
Correct.
Now,
And you
you
can,
don't necessarily approve every comment, like it automatically shows up,
yes.
and then I can delete it.
This is the part that I will tell you, I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I do know how I feel about it. I really like it. But it's one of those things that it could get, depending on how you approach it, parents can have access to this. They can see their kids' feed and what they're putting. So if you ask them to read a book and they have read it and you're looking for fluency, and you can then comment on that video, and I'll show you here in a second how I can comment as a teacher on what you're doing. The parent can see that, but during the day, the parent can like what their kids are doing. Again, it's one of those where some teachers are like, I don't know if I want that. I think one of the complaints about Google Classroom is the parents don't have access to it, or they do, but they have to use their son or daughter's login.
So, but parents can only see what their own child is. Yes.
Correct.
Unless, like, let's say you and I were working on a project collaboratively, and you could see both of those, and that parent can both see it, your mom comments on something, and my mom comments on something, like those comments they can see, but they can't see immediately.
Now, here's what SeeSaw changes stuff all the time. And what they heard from people is, because it's K through 12, we need to start giving kids the ability of sharing outside of just their little walled world. And so what they have done is put a class blog on there. So if I enable the class blog, and you know what, I should have done this. I'm just going to you go in and name whatever you want the blog to be, because it's going to actually be a URL that you can share. Oh yeah, I said March 18th. Man, I don't want to do that. But yeah, it's March 18th. So now, here's what happens. And if you think about what SeeSaw can be used for, sometimes people look at it and they say, I'm going to go back to feed view. Oh, so that's all kids are doing? Is they're just like posting things? Yes, but they're also doing, whether it is, here, I want you to show me a number line, and I want you to count those numbers, instead of you who has one set of eyes. You can't have every kid doing that, because you got every kid counting. You don't know if, okay, I thought I heard him say the number wrong, but you're trying to be over there. You go in and say, well, I want you to do a video, and I want you to record that video of you counting. They can then upload that. So it's not just a matter of, other than snap a picture, upload something.
And I use it a lot for those types of things, like with our words that way after the kids sort it, I'll have them read their words and record it and do that. And it's interesting to see which words they're really missing. Because visually, it looks like they have them all in the right spot because they've sorted them, but they can't pronounce their blends, or they're missing that vowel sound all the time. So I do like it for those types of things, but I will admit that the parents, they do have access to it. So they look at it, and you can tell the parents that are looking at their child's work or whatever. But a lot of times they don't know why you're doing that. So we started kind of typing the title on there so that they know a little bit about what it is, but I don't know. You're right. I mean, that's the piece that gets a little cumbersome, because I don't need to justify and explain every single thing that I'm doing, but I feel that sometimes when you have this random picture and the kids copy, they don't know why.
Yeah.
It may be adjectives or it may be nouns, but still.
So if they're reading the words, are they actually holding the iPad themselves and reading the words?
They seriously do everything.
It's funny, I've been into her class, and you'll see the kids, like, they'll do words their way, and they'll sort them all,
Yep.
and then you've got them, okay, they're standing there, okay, put hat and this, and they're like real close.
Yeah.
They know to get
Yeah.
close to the microphone, because there are other kids. They don't have somebody like me standing in the room who's like,
And it is a little
like
bit-
barking, so that,
It is a little bit loud when you're hearing their recordings, because you can hear the Don is, but,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not
and you
shouting.
do, you just pick up on those things.
Don, you have my voice, I understand. I've heard it my whole life.
So you have this feed going on. Now you as a teacher can say, okay, I want to leave a comment on this. I can actually click comment and do, I'll make these simple. Here, that's a nice picture. I can go on and say, I can tap to record it, and that's a really nice photo. You look like you have a nice family. And then check mark that. Now Laura is going to get notification that she has that comment there. Parents can hear that comment if they have. So when a kid comes home and says, "Oh, Mrs. So-and-so says that I'm not doing this right," you're not sure as a parent whether, okay, no, wait a second, what do you mean you're not doing this right? A parent can listen to that comment, hear exactly what you as a teacher think about the reading. I know a lot of teachers use it for the fluency aspect of reading, and then the parent can hear them read. And I keep saying the parent, the teacher can hear them read, because you can't get around to every single kid all the time to hear what they are or how their reading is going. Again, if you were to post multiple times, I could go in and just click on, if I was in a parent conference, I can just click on Ben, I can just click on Deb, Heather, and I can actually see those posts that they've done. There's a flagging feature, which is actually kind of nice. And Heather, I'm going to pick on you. Let's say that Heather was reading this book about McDonald's Diet Coke, and she said a couple of words wrong, and you kind of talked to her about it. You could go in and flag that. Nobody sees that but you. But then you can actually go through, and when you are looking at it, again, because there's only one, you can actually see when I click on Heather, I have flagged one of her items. So if it's something that, I want to make sure I want to check that in another couple of weeks, I can go in, it will pull up that flagged item. And if you have 2 or 3 or 4 flagged items, it'll list all of those there. A lot of times, teachers, when I've listened to webinars, I probably listen to more webinars about SeeSaw than I have anything else. They use that for parent conferences. They go through and they flag the things they make sure that they want to share with the parents. It doesn't flag it on the parent side. So it's not like the parents are like, why is that flag there?
And I use the folder a lot too, if I would jump to that, sorry.
Yep, there are, in fact, why don't you describe how you use the folders?
Well, I feel that that's helpful when you have this huge list of, we might post 5 things in a day and just kind of go through. So kind of how he said you could sort with the flagged items, you can sort by subject. So I know that we always do spelling, so I'll make spelling one of the colors, and when the kids submit their assignments, they actually submit it to the folder then. And that again kind of lets parents know this is a spelling activity or it's a writing activity, so then they can kind of see a little bit, but not all of us have to take it. So we just kind of started doing that piece of it, but we do spelling, math, writing. Those are pretty much what we do.
The blog feature, it's funny, there's a different philosophy, obviously different philosophies out there. There are some teachers that use SeeSaw, and this is how their kids capture everything. Everything they do, they have them post in SeeSaw. They may post 15 times a day. They get done with their art project and they take a picture of it, which I will also point out. The parents who are concerned about their young ones and screen time, that is the beautiful thing about this. They can cut things out. They can do all of those things that people think kids should do. They capture the final product. And then they comment on it. Here's why I did this. Or they take a video of it. Or they write something as well and put it onto the picture. I mean, there are all kinds of things that can be done. But there are teachers that by the end of the day, literally one kid may have 10 or 15 things. Those teachers then use the blog feature, and the blog feature is you pick from today the one thing that blank. the one thing that you are happiest about, the one thing that you're still struggling with, the one thing that you enjoyed, and then you actually go through and as a student, you say, you know what, okay, here's all of the stuff. Again, you'd have maybe scrolling list, and then you say, I want to publish that to the blog. That blog becomes a public URL that grandparents can go to, that parents can go to. You can password protect it. A kid's last name is never anywhere to be seen unless they type it. So you would really want to be careful of that. If you're posting something to SeeSaw, it is okay to have last names. I mean, I wouldn't get in the habit of that. If you're going to push it out to a blog and basically not have, I mean, let's be honest, who's going to go?
They share with grandparents.
Yeah.
Grandparents share with the neighbors.
Yeah, exactly. But you can, there is a way to password protect the blog so that you can say if you're going to see that, if you're going to view this blog, you have to put in Morton 709. But if you give that to parents, grandparents are going to have it. But it does keep the nefarious kinds of people that are out there that I don't really think are probably looking at SeeSaw. But again, very nice in terms of being able to see a kid's progression over time. You know, again, here we're looking at Monday, April 18th. Imagine you could scroll back on any of the students and see August 1st. You know, see August 11th, August 12th, August 13th. There's a calendar view. And so you can see how many items on each day. So you could go through and Ben posted, I don't know if you noticed, the whole class posted 5 things. Ben posted 1. So again, even very easy to see, did a kid do, I want everybody to post 3 times on something. Well, Ben didn't do that. He only posted 1 item.
And I think if you actually click on it, then it shows you, like underneath, it'll show you all the kids, so you can clearly see who hasn't turned it in.
Yes.
I think because you're on Ben, but if you click up on
Oh
the
yeah, you mean on class feed.
and then click
Yep.
on the date, then it lists all the kids. So real quick, you know who didn't turn it in and who still needs to do it.
And you can access that from there then. So if you click on that, now you get the video. And again, you can leave comments on it. The other nice thing, you know the term app smashing? App smashing is using more than one app. That is, I think, a great thing about SeeSaw. You can use Google Docs, you can use, I'm going to say them, but I would not use Pages. I know it's on the iPad. I wouldn't use Pages. I wouldn't use Keynote. If you do, but Google Slides, Google Docs, Book Creator, Dosery. I mean, there's a list of things that you can bring in as posts
And it's
on
so
here.
easy to
Yeah.
find.
It's basically open in SeeSaw.
So
What-
you go to Google and tell it to open it.
Yep,
Open
so-
it in another app and then you pick SeeSaw.
Yep. And so let's, now you know what, I've never done an explain everything, but I'm assuming. So I'm going to take my explain everything. I am going to, yeah, but I don't, I would export it as a video. Well, yeah, you could, because you would say, I want to do this to my photos, and then you would pick that. So now if we go to the camera roll is an easy one. Anything that goes to the camera roll can be put in there. So I've got this, and now I do these. That's strange. There's a share button. I don't know why that's cutting that off. There's a share sheet. It's a square with an arrow going up. You can do that, and then it gives you the choice. So here's what I want, and I want to open that in SeeSaw. Now this is going to be a little different. Well, no, I guess not. I was thinking it'd be a little different because I was the teacher. Let's say that I was Ben, and I just did that. I would make sure, okay, I'm picking me, and then I'm going to do the check mark, and now it's going to post it to SeeSaw. but I did that in another app. So it really becomes this gathering place for stuff. And I think one of the biggest complaints that teachers have initially about technology is I have stuff everywhere. Like, I got kids airdropping things to me. I would not have kids airdrop things to you. I mean, I'm not going to say never, but now they're taking up your space on your iPad. And now you have to figure out where you have them at. This is a nice repository. There are people, I don't think this takes the place of Classroom. I think it just serves a different purpose. I think it's, because you use Classroom as well, right? Yeah, I think you can use both. You can use docs and then have them put things into it.
It really depends on what I'm doing though. Like if I want to share a video and I want the kids to watch something, I'll use Classroom for that because then they can just easily open it up. Or if they want to create something that they actually need to type more on, I feel that docs or slides or those types of things it's easier for. But if I want to share it after we've made a slide and we want to share that with parents, then I'll upload it to SeeSaw so that the parents can actually see it and they can't ever really see that. But I liked how in Classroom you can send them that template, they can open it up, then they can make it easily there. Whereas there you can't do that in this.
Yeah, and that's where I don't think this takes the place of it. I would probably, if I were in the classroom, whether it be at elementary or high school, I would probably use this as, this is where you pick the best stuff that you're doing. You know, you don't need to put everything on there. But when you write, you know, if in a week we write 5 different paragraphs as a quiz, I want you to pick one of those and put it on there. That's the one I'm going to grade. But you can also use it as that repository. This is what the note looks like. And so again, you can type on it. I will show you the drawing. You have the option of the different colors along the side. You know, it's fairly basic, but once I press record, now I can go here and, you know, 2 + 2 = 4. You're forcing them to talk through things. 3 + 3 = 6. And then I am done with it.
Is there a way, like, what if I don't want to share everything? Or basically make it everything that the kid uploads? I don't know.
Well, and like for the blog, what I was thinking would be nice to do would be like an exit ticket type thing where everybody tells me how to do such and such a procedure in that. And I pick one, and I'd like to just pick one to upload to the blog, like the best of them or something. Can I do that? Yeah, like a newsletter. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, and I'm trying to remember the
Or everybody
one,
gets our field trip, and I upload one of those.
and because of, and I will make sure, I will look and make sure that this is accurate, but I think that was one of the benefits of the blog, is you could give anybody, they don't have to have parent access in order to have the blog. And I vaguely remember
So
one of the
we could
PDs.
block parent access to SeeSaw in general, but give them the web address so they can look at the blog, and that way you don't.
Correct.
But then they'd see what everybody's doing, not just theirs.
But I think what you're going to see 5 years from now, and I know this is not 5 years from now, but 5 years from now, there's going to be a whole lot more talk about authentic work. And authentic work is not just, we're doing this for the 20 people that are in class. We want grandparents to comment not just on their grandkids, but maybe they comment on somebody else's. And again, you'd want to be careful and not have the kids have last names and so forth. But you approve all those. You still have complete access to approve or not approve of those. There was something else that I was thinking, and again, one of the things, and then you look at it now, and it's supposed to go from 315 to 345, and then you guys have time to work. It's never done that because there's just so much. I mean, there are all kinds of other things. I think the biggest issue are the ideas that people post, and I'll show you on Classroom. The post that I put. It is on the Monday professional development one. So if you aren't a part of this classroom, I can give you the join code here in just a second. But this resource page, whoops, go back. It says SeeSaw resource page. That links directly to their website, and they do a great job of, getting started tips. I mean, they talk about, you really want to think about how you're using this. The tutorial videos are nice.
And if you have questions, if you just.
They will respond.
They do, and they check in just to see how things are going.
And
Yeah.
send you ideas.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. A couple of things. These, I put them on our PD website. I have all of these listed. These are the ones that I went to, these PD in your PJs, but they have linked them, and you go in there, it is amazing what these teachers, and they give all kinds of examples, but if you go even, whoops, what they have done is, okay, activity ideas for K-2. And you go there and it's divided into, general, if you want to do something with art and music, there's all kinds of examples that they give all the way through 12th grade. I've not looked at this teacher stories. One of the things that really SeeSaw got its start because people who were sharing iPads, students who were sharing iPads, it was a pain. Whereas with the code, and that's where you really want to use the code. If you, right now, if you wanted to start SeeSaw tomorrow, you would want to use the code because you're sharing iPads. When you have one-to-one iPads, there's less of a need as long as that kid gets the same iPad every single time. So you read a lot of stories about people that, like here, first grade, this Kristen Perone, 2-to-1 iPads, a lot of stories about that this was just like a lifesaver for them. Questions that you have, again, I could keep rambling on.
I have a question. So, I just noticed, and maybe I missed this in the beginning, so I can see everybody else's work as well. Is there a way that
Yep, I will, yep. In fact, that was one of the things that I was...
But I was just thinking, if they're doing works their way and they're watching other things, it's not the worst thing.
They
but-
can't see it until as the teacher you approve it. So,
Oh, so they can see
everybody's
it as
doing it
their
at the
work.
same time. And honestly, I don't know, I have not had any of those problems at all with the message, but that's a good point. But it doesn't go live until you approve it.
Okay, so then you one getting done and everybody else can see it.
Another thing that I really liked about this app is, I do a morning calendar thing. We have a number that the kids use 100 charts with, and we can just color in and do that. And I like that. It's the same thing that we do every single week. So I just upload and send to the whole class the template that I want them to use, and they can actually draw on it and record and do all that. So it's nice that we can do different things and edit it and go back and fix it and make your adjustments every day. Whereas some of the other programs, it's once you submit it, it's done and it's there forever. But I like that they can use the same one.
And again, I might miss this. So if I took a picture of a worksheet
Yes,
and
that's
I can push it out to everybody, they can write on it. and send it
Ish.
Now,
It's not-
how do you, and I'm just going to say, because I've got some ideas about how to do that. How do you get a document out to them? Do you use Classroom?
I do. I use Classroom and then they download it, and I think that what we ended up doing to get it to work the best is they took then a screenshot of having it.
And I messed around with something that I don't know if it will be easier, but I'll show you.
Okay.
Before, to go back to your, if you go up into the top left-hand corner, there, now you won't have this because you're not the teacher,
Okay.
but it says manage class. Manage class is where you get everything to do just that. I mean, you can go in and you can change the, whether they can like and comment, but this one right here that says students can see each other's work, if you toggle that off, then they will not be able to see each other's work. I think SeeSaw would say, that sounds weird, SeeSaw would say, I wouldn't turn that off. Because the whole idea is for them to be able to see other people. But I can also see an idea, I like your idea of just wait until everybody's done before you approve all those items. So I was thinking about that too. A lot of teachers will say, well, what if I have something that I want them to work on? What I would probably do, and again, stop me if you're like, okay, that won't work as well as you think it will. I can go in as a teacher and I can I can go from the camera roll and it doesn't really matter. Let's just use this one. I can now post that to everyone. Do the check mark. It's not spelling. Just go from there. Now, I'm curious to see, you should have saw, as I've gone through this, I've had like 4 different iPads signed in, and then I get confused with whether I'm the student or the teacher. What do you see? You see the post, correct? Okay. If you click on that picture, and then you get all of these choices along the bottom. You select this one. This is called the share sheet. If you select that, and you say save it to camera roll, so a kid would do this. Now, they have saved it on their iPad. You could go back then as the student and say, okay, I want to do this plus. I want to go from my camera roll. I want to pick this one that I just put in my camera roll. And now I've got all these choices along the bottom. Well, they said to point to a noun or circle a noun. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to actually record. So
Why wouldn't you just do copy and edit?
did it give you the opportunity?
It does, and I feel like that doesn't work as well as I wanted it to. Because I have done that before, and I have pushed things out to everyone. And I'm sorry, I don't remember why.
And I've never used the copy and edit. So, I mean, I can mess around with that too.
I think it had something to do with the way the camera roll was set up. Because I think on the iPads and having all of them, there was some weird thing going on with the camera roll. That even though they downloaded it, they could never find it, and then it but you couldn't just copy and edit and have it draw on it.
Well, let's see. Like I said, that's a feature that I've not used.
Yeah, so all I did was and then when they save it, does it go straight to them? Or will it go straight to you if you save it?
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
It doesn't go into the camera roll.
But it doesn't work. I feel like there was a problem with it, and I don't remember why. I'm sorry.
So there are a couple of ways, because here's what we don't want people to do is to say, oh my gosh, I can use this, but I don't want to use Classroom. Because so then I got to save this to Classroom, then I got to go here, and then I got to get this, and you're talking about first graders. There is a way of being self-contained within SeeSaw if you wanted to. The other thing that as you think about whether it's SeeSaw or whether it's Explain Everything, really trying to think of what are those lessons that this is perfect for. This may not be perfect for everything. And I know that, I think sometimes people think he says that, but he really doesn't think that. He thinks that iPad should be used for everything. I don't. I think there are some things that if them drawing on a piece of paper is the better way of doing it, by all means do that. But that's what's nice about SeeSaw, particularly because I remember when my kids were the age, whether it's kindergarten, third grade, they would bring home a ridiculous number of papers. I mean, we'd go through and be like, oh yeah, there's the coloring page, there's this, and oh, they spelled cat. It was like just overwhelming. And I felt horrible as a parent. Look at that deer. And then I, put them in the trash can. This is a way for a parent to be able to see those. And if they have some technology, I'd be all over this because I'd be saving those things to a file that I've got a flash drive versus a folder in my wife's hope chest that literally is like this thick, brimming with stuff that we're never going to look at. But I think it does it tends to lend itself for younger grades, and I think thinking outside the box and I'm going to use an example that you just said, but I always hated that when I was a teacher. Like, I want to use an example, but the student just said it, so now they think that I'm like referring to them. If you take a worksheet and that worksheet is phenomenal and it does what you need it to do, by all means, bring it into here. But if you look at that worksheet and you're like, I've never liked this thing, but we do it because the neighbor teacher does it, and Sam's the first grade lead teacher, and she says we really should use it. I really don't want to use it. This is the opportunity then to be able to say, okay, what can I do with this or some other piece of technology that will make it something that is beneficial? Okay, I need to shut up so that you can either ask questions or if you are working on something. Actually,
How do you get, the parents access to their child's account? It's a sheet that you fill out.
so
Yeah.
it says invite parents.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it says, do you want to get the parental invite handout? Oh, and then it sends the PDF. And then you can print that off, send it home, or if you have their emails, you can do it that way. One of the comments that I heard over and over again on these professional development, the PJ or the PD in your PJs, was they recommended not giving parental access for a couple of weeks. Let students get used to it. Don't give parents permission before there's anything posted, because you will get inundated with, well, there's nothing there. And, like, am I doing something wrong? Why? So, it could even be one of those things where after the first, I know you guys don't necessarily think midterm, but my high school break, at midterm,